Hi everyone, my name is Carlie Lux, and for my final project, I chose biotechnology and animal breeding. So first I want to talk about what is animal breeding. Animal breeding is a very important branch of the biotechnology world, where they use molecular biology techniques that are used to genetically engineer and modify the genomes of a chosen animal in order to improve the suitability for agriculture, pharmaceutical, and industrial applications. There are many intended uses of animal breeding. To the left, you can see some examples, but the main intended use is so breeding is used to breed the certain animal with good selected genetic traits. And when you use those good genetic traits, you can pass it along to your offspring, which will make them more genetically sought after. So what animals are bred the most? We see the most animals that are bred are dogs, cattle, and cows, but some other animals that are bred are pigs, sheep, horses, and other livestock. So intended uses of cattle breeding. Cattle breeding is the use of good genes that are used in order to produce leaner meat, improve the disease in their animals, and enhance how much product such as meat, food, and dairy will be produced from their cattle is a really big reason that these scientists are digging deeper and trying to make animal breeding technology more advanced. So I have seen this firsthand. It is absolutely awful, but some genetic conditions in cattle would be the tibial heminelia, which is a genetic condition that is inherited after two affected animals pass their copies of a recessive gene on to their offspring. These calves are born with severe deformities like twisted rear legs, fused joints, large abdominal hernias, and skull deformities. Tibial heminelia is a problem faced by many cattle breeders, and the only way to detect this gene head-on is to use a DNA marker test that can show the recessive gene so these breeders can avoid it altogether. So intended uses of dog breeding. Most breeders work very hard to remove these undesired bad traits. It has a really bad reputation, but it really is a good use of breeding. When it's done correctly, the dogs will not be able to inherit conditions like hip and elbow dysplasia, allergies, epilepsy, and many more issues. And this will increase genetic traits such as intelligence and speed. Some genetic conditions in dogs is hip and elbow dysplasia. The problem with that, it's not typically seen until the dog is aged, so breeders really don't know if their dogs are going to suffer with it unless the two that they mated also suffer with it. So they use the biotechnology to look for those markers so they can avoid it altogether. So genome editing in animal breeding is being able to use CRISPR so breeders can select these desired traits and genes so they can pass it off to their offspring and avoid the bad traits altogether. Some animal breeding methods include inbreeding. The two types would be close breeding and line breeding. This method is rarely used and should not be used at all because some examples of breeding would be father to daughter, son to mom, brother to sister, which has negative outcomes for the offspring. Another method that is used is outbreeding. Outbreeding is the mating and breeding of unrelated animals through crossbreeding and grading up, which is great. That means that they're not related, so the outcome of deformities and diseases is very low. How does animal breeding affect us? We really rely on the dairy, meat, and eggs and other products that come from animals, so it is a positive effect on us. Without this animal breeding, we don't know if what we're eating or using is going to be safe. So these breeders are using this technology so we and the animals will be safe in the long run. So some negative effects of animal breeding, like I said earlier, is inbreeding and overbreeding. Overbreeding is excessively breeding two different mates over and over again just because they have good outcomes and good genes, which is leading to deaf and blind offspring, joint problems like hip dysplasia, which is commonly found in dogs. Some ethical dilemmas regarding animal breeding would be people just thinking it's wrong, unnatural, and people are worried about overbreeding, deformities, difficulties, but people are going to have ethical issues no matter what they choose. But in the long run, these breeders are doing it to benefit us. So in conclusion, biotechnology is great. It is one of the main reasons we're able to safely consume and use animal products. Because the breeders can remove the bad genes and diseases, we as humans and consumers are not only safe, but the animals are also safe in the long run. So I am very for animal breeding. I like knowing that us as consumers are safe and the animals that we will be using are also safe. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.